wanted to do a little bit of experimenting today, and that combined with something I've been wanting to do for a while, which is finding a way to hide the lights in my haunted display. I was looking at the demonic trees that I've done. I was looking at the roots and I started thinking, you know what? If I were to just do like the root part of that, keep it hollow, make a little space, I could put the lights inside the root system. And since I have a lot of trees on the property, I have these, and even if you don't have a lot of trees, just put them out on the lawn. It looks like you had trees. And I think it's going to be a good way to hide the lights, make it look a little bit neater as a haunt overall. Hello. Today I'm going to show you how to make a tree stump for your haunted display. Now the thing about this tree stump is, I don't know how many people out there, you get lights, you have the lights shining on your different props and everything, but you might want to hide those lights. And you can use tombstones, but you can only have so many tombstones in a haunt, and it depends what's going on. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you another option and a way to hide your lights so that you can like have lights shining on your display and it's not real obvious to people who are walking by and checking out the haunt. Now this is actually pretty easy. I'm going to be taking you through it. I used cardboard, which I wrapped in plastic like painter's tarp. That way it's waterproof. Added some pool noodles, stained it, did a little bit of dry brushing, and I got my tree stump. I mean, I was just experimenting today, came up with I was making everything up as I went along. Took me maybe 2 to 3 hours to do total to get done. Now I used cardboard for this, but the other thing I'm going to give a try after I'm done doing this tutorial, my wife grabbed a couple of clothes baskets from Dollar Store today, and the clothes baskets are pretty small, but I think they would also make a pretty good base for a tree stump where you could put the plastic wrap around it, add the pool noodles, stain it, paint it. I think you would get a pretty similar effect. I just wanted to give people an idea how this looks at nighttime with the tree trunk. Right down here is the tree trunk that I made. The light is housed inside. Tree trunk's pretty well covered in plastic and everything, so hopefully it's not going to be affected by the elements. And you can see it lights everything up really, really well. That's a demonic tree I made a couple weeks ago, and it lights it up just the way that I want it to. Even if I change colors, red, green, blue, or whatever color, changes, looks good. Cut. To make the tree, it just needs a few basic materials. Cardboard, and this is actually a really thick cardboard. Got the cardboard from old furniture that we had. I cut it up. When we bought the furniture, I cut the cardboard up, put it aside. So it's really thick, but I don't see why you can use something like a door frame box or a box like this, where what I would do is I'd probably cut the top out, turn this into do a cut down one corner, turn this into a circular shape, take this, put it on top, and make this the top of the tree. I think that would work. You can also use, I'm going to be experimenting later on this week, using a Dollar Store clothes basket. Now, it's already kind of got the tree shape. Now, I might just go with this. This might save me a whole bunch of steps. If I don't like the way it flares down and everything, then all I would do is like cut there, up there, up there, up there, pull these together and have it a little more straight up and down. Now that would work also, I'm hoping. Now if this does work, it'll save me a lot of time and quite a few steps. And if it does work, I'll do another video later on this week. Want to use a respirator. One of the things you're going to be doing is you're going to be using a lot of spray adhesive. I generally use the 3M Super 77. And when you're spraying this much adhesive, you don't want to be breathing in because that stuff is just not good for your lungs. Pair of scissors, plastic painter's tarp, zip ties, and this isn't the amount that you're going to need. I'm just doing this as a visual for you. You're going to need tape, duct tape, a razor blade, adhesive like I already said, paintbrush. I'm using a hickory gel stain. You can get it from, I know you can get it from Home Depot. You can probably get it from Walmart also, it wouldn't surprise me. and 4 or 5 pool noodles like this. Now with pool noodles, you can get them from the dollar store for $1, of course. You can get them from Walmart. Right now at Walmart, the 4-foot ones are 97 cents. The ones you get from dollar store are 4 feet. You can also get these from 5 and below. The ones from 5 and below are $1 each. The difference is these are 5 feet long, whereas the ones from a lot of other places are 4 feet long. All right, first thing you want to do is you want to get cardboard. I've got tons of cardboard laying around the house, like laying in the garage. Whenever I get boxes and stuff, I always save the cardboard. I use it for targets and stuff, but I still have tons and tons of extra cardboard. So you want to get some cardboard. You want to think about the size of the lights that you're going to be using. I normally use either these lights here. They're pretty useful lights. They change colors. They can be red, blue, green. Just need the remote, changes the colors out. They are highly waterproof. They can dim to 50 watts, 30 watts, and I think 20 or 10 watts, I'm not sure which. I also have a ton of these different Gemmy lights that I also use. So if I'm doing the tree stump for these, I'll probably make it a lot smaller tree stump than I am for this one here. Now, first thing I want to do is I'm going to do a tutorial for one of the larger ones. So got your cardboard here and all. I'll take a look at it, figure out how tall I want it. So I want it to be tall enough to have a little bit of clearance here. This line here, I'm going to make a strip. I'm going to cut the cardboard. I'm actually going to be cutting 2 strips of cardboard. All right, so I've got 2 pieces of cardboard here. Now, whether or not you have 2 pieces of cardboard or not is up to you. It depends what type of cardboard you're using, how much cardboard you're using. Quite honest, if you were to get like an old door frame box or something like that, you could probably adapt that to what we're doing to also make it fit the thing, fit the project. Now, I've got these 2 different strips, and the reason I have 2 strips is because I want to make this large enough that I can easily fit the projector inside the tree stump. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is take these. I'm just going to start breaking the cardboard every couple of inches. And this way, I'm going to be able to get a rounded shape like a tree stump. And then I'll do the same thing with the other cardboard, piece of cardboard. Now, it's not an exact science. It doesn't need to be a set amount apart. Also, when you're cutting the strips, like for the height and everything, you know, if you go a little off center or something, it's not really a big deal, because when you look at tree stumps, you know, when you look at how they're cut, they're not always cut straight across, so no big deal. This is a project that gives you a lot of leeway. If you make little mistakes here or there, those little mistakes are not a big deal. All right, so I've got this cut apart. I've got it like set up so that it'll form the round circle once I'm ready to do it. But I want to try something. Like when I did this before, I put plastic on this after I like had everything together. I'm going to try it a little bit different this time to see how it works out. What I'm going to do is get some spray adhesive. Whenever you use spray adhesive, use a respirator, because you don't want to get glue in your lungs. It's not healthy. I'm going to spray this whole thing down with adhesive. And I want to spray it really, really well, because I want that plastic to stick to it and stay stuck to it. All right, so we got the cardboard cut. We want to coat it in plastic to waterproof. Now, when you're doing the waterproofing, you want to wear a respirator, because the glue from the aerosol, it's not good for you for breathing in. So you pop on the respirator. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this down with a lot of adhesive. I'm going to push the plastic down on it and try to get a good firm bond. Then I'm going to flip it over, do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to do it a couple times to build up a fair amount of plastic so that, you know, it's pretty well waterproof. There's enough plastic on here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it out, And I'm going to have one of my two wall panels. I already plasticed up. I don't think that's a word, but I did add plastic to the other one, and we're going to combine the two together. The way we're going to combine the two together, we're going to take both, fold them, and then tape them together. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so I have my two halves. They're both plastic wrapped. What I'm eventually going to do is I'm going to hit it with the heat gun and like conform it a little bit more. But I'm going to wait until after I get these two together. The way I'm going to put these together, put them right next to each other like that. Get a little bit of tape. Tape the top. And the bottom. And that side's now connected. Bend it in a circular shape. And tape the top and bottom of this side. And that's going to give me my round tree stump shape that I'll be able to work with for the rest of the project. At this point, you just want to do a quick check. You want to pop this in here, make sure that it fits okay. And while this is in here, you want to take a marker and you want to sketch out about how much you're going to be cutting out here. So, going over there, down there. I'm just eyeing this up. I mean, it'll be close enough, that'll be fine. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a razor blade, cut through there, cut that section out, and I've got where the lights don't be shining up on the props all set up. All right, so I cut a section out of here. The key to anytime you're cutting cardboard, especially thick cardboard like this, make sure you have a nice sharp razor blade. I've tried cutting cardboard with dull razor blades before. I've got scars on my hands to show from it. Make sure you have a sharp razor blade that's don't go through, you're not going to struggle, and you're not going to hurt yourself. Now, before I move on, I want to do two things. One, because I just cut a section out, there's now exposed cardboard. I want to cover that up with plastic. Also, where the cardboard overlaps here, I'm also going to put a loop of plastic around there so that it's a little more seamless and it doesn't look like there's a seam there. Once I'm done that, I'm going to go over this whole thing with the heat gun. I'm going to lightly heat it and shrink wrap it into place. Now, it's already in pretty tight because of the adhesive, but the heat gun will help improve upon that. So I put plastic on the exposed areas and also on the seams. I used a lot of adhesive, that's why I didn't put it on videotape. You can't understand a word I'm saying when I'm wearing the respirator. You just take your heat gun, shrivel everything, try not to burn through to the cardboard. Now I'll take the heat gun to the entire tree stump. And once again, just be careful you don't burn through. Now I'm not leaving it in any place too long because I don't want it to burn through. I don't want to expose cardboard. Now if you're leaving holes in it, then you're kind of defeating the purpose of having plastic covering the cardboard. Now you're just going around, make sure you get everything. Doesn't have to be like super baked on or anything. I also get the inside, even though hopefully the rain will stay out of the inside and the elements will stay away from the inside. You never know. Now on the tree stump I made earlier, I made it, painted it, stained it, all that stuff, put it out. Literally, not 2 minutes later, there's a bird sitting on it, which I think showed that I passed some sort of test or that I passed some sort of test. So I was pretty happy about that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a top to the tree. So first thing you want to do is decide which end you want to be up and which end you want to be the top. No, I just put a little arrow there so I know. flip upside down, and you're gonna need another piece of cardboard for this. And then draw a circle. I'm going to be using a razor blade to cut this out. And when I use the razor blade to cut this out, I try to make it a little bit larger than the edge there. I also put an arrow towards where the center of this is, so it'll be easier for me to line up when I put everything on there, because you know, you can see it's not a perfect circle. It's got like the different shapes and everything. You want to be able to put it on, and this just helps out a little bit. So get the razor blade. Once again, make sure you have a nice sharp razor blade when you do this. Start cutting it out. Like I said, I go just a little bit larger. I'd rather have overlap. So that's going to be hidden by the pool noodles. It'll also be hidden by another layer of plastic tarping that I'm going to be putting over it. Then have too small and have holes in the top. So I want it to be larger, not smaller. So I have this. Bring this over. Pop it on. Now I have my top. All I do is take a little bit of tape it in a couple of different places, and then I'm going to get a little bit of plastic, and I'm going to like basically use the plastic to seam it into the rest of the tree stump. You can do a bottom too if you want to. I'm not going to, but if you want to, you can put a bottom on it also. Okay, so I got the top put on, I've got tape on there to hold it into place. Now I'm taking some plastic. I've already sprayed this down with adhesive. Put the plastic on, and it's good that there's overlap. Now, like I said, try to get it nice and tight on there. If you have it loose and you don't like put it on tight, then what's going to happen is later on when you go to like paint and everything, it's going to be all like shifting all over the place, and you want to try to avoid that. Now, if it has some like wrinkles and stuff in it, that's actually good. It kind of gives the final product a little texture and makes it look a little bit cooler, in my opinion. Now, go around, make sure you get it all around the bottom. I'm going to hit this with the heat gun, and then I'm going to do the same thing inside, spray some adhesive, get a piece of plastic, put it in there, and basically protect that plastic and that cardboard. Now, the other way you could have done this is, and my wife suggested it, it's a pretty good idea, fortunately she told me after I did it, is I could have just like covered some plastic first, put it on, and then done like quick seal plastic, but so it goes. Now we're going to do the root system. Now we've got everything all wrapped up, it's covered in plastic, it's hopefully waterproof. We're supposed to have a lot of rain tomorrow, so I'll be putting these out in the rain tomorrow and make sure that there aren't any problems with this. And the way I like to do the roots is I use pool noodles. Now, you know, there's a lot of different ways to do this. I probably used about 4 or 5 different pool noodles. I'm going to have like a major root coming off here, 2 roots coming off the sides, and then a couple of smaller ones in between. When I do that, I take pool noodles. This pool noodle is probably about 2.5 feet tall, long or so. And I'm going to attach these to the side of here. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. You have to attach these to the side. Once we get the plastic, we do the shrink wrapping. Now, I like to call it barking because we're basically putting bark on the tree. It's also known as corpsing. That's where I learned this from. I'm using the corpsing method I first saw in a Stilt Beast video, Studios video years ago. Now, the way I hold the roots in place, I got a bunch of zip ties, put them together. They're 11-inch zip ties. I'm going to put them around the top of this. And I don't want to go on across here because I'm going to be leaving this on even after I'm done everything. I don't want the light, this interfering with the light. So now I've got this, I've got it loose. And as I put these in, I'm going to be cutting them to different shapes and everything, but I'm going to be sliding these up under here, and the pressure from this is going to help hold the roots into place when I'm doing the roots. There are other ways that you could probably do it. You might be able to get glue in the side, but I mean, that's don't take forever. You have to wait for it to dry, and even then it can still come loose. You might be able to get pin it in. There's a lot of different ways. So I'm just going to start doing the roots. And the way I like to do the big roots is I get a full piece, get it like this, about where the bend is. I put a little bit of a slice so that it bends easy and it's not going to be pushing the tree thing up. Might take a little bit out right here so that it conforms to the shape of the tree stump a little bit when it's up here. Now, this is a little bit long for me, so I'm going to make this a little bit shorter. And once I get that somewhat in this, the place where I want it, tighten this up just a little bit. I'll get another piece. And what I did is I cut a bunch straight down the center. These are going to be side roots going into the main root. So I cut that right about there or so. Figure out where I want the bend, do a little slice there, put that in, put it on top there. I'll do another one on the other side. And what's going to happen is I'll hit it with the heat gun, try to meld this together. I'm going to put some texture and shape into there and wrap it in plastic, stain it. I'm going to have my root system. I'm going to do this off camera, knock out all the roots, and you'll see what I will be doing. I have all the roots in here. The thing we'll be doing to get some texture in this is I'll be taking the heat gun. I'm going to be heating up different sections of the roots and everything. And I'm going to be trying to make it so that they don't look like pool noodles, basically. Take it down here at the bottom. Try to shrink this up. You get as thin as you want. Now, as I do this, I like to get like different. I like to get high spots, low spots. Try to give it that rooty type look. Now you can hold the heat gun in a spot for a little bit. You don't want to do it for too long. Other thing is make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. I've got the garage door open. I've got airflow going through. I got windows open and everything, so I feel pretty comfortable here. But if you're in a house or a basement or something, you might want to grab a table, take this out to your driveway, and do it outside. Next thing I'm going to do is barking or corpsing them. If you're not sure what that is, I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. If not, type in your search engine, Stilt Beach Studio Plastic Corpsing. And this guy, Alan Hops, did an awesome video on plastic corpsing years ago. That's where I learned how to do the corpsing and everything. He's actually corpsing a skeleton in that, but that's a similar method to what I'm using here now. What I'm going to do is, like, I've got all the different roots into the place and everything. I've got a little piece up here. I'm going to put plastic on that. I have a couple pieces here sticking up. I just think that kind of gives it a little bit more of a look, like a splintered tree type look. And what you could do is like make it a little more jagged, a little more rigid and everything. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now, and the idea is to give it a little bit of texture so that, you know, if it's all like symmetrical and everything, I mean, it can look okay, but I think being asymmetrical, it looks a little bit better. Pull the zip ties tight. Now you got this one thing on here is holding it on. The other thing that's going to hold it on is once you start doing plastic corpsing, the plastic corpsing or the barking is also going to hold everything together really, really well. All right, so I've got the roots in place. I've got the plastic covering it. All the cardboard's covered. There might be a spot or two, a small spot or two missing on the roots, but they're pool noodles. They're waterproof. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the heat gun, I'm going to shrink wrap all this. Once I'm done shrink wrapping it, then I'm going to get some stain, gel stain. And once again, I saw this in a Stilt Beach Studio video years ago. I'm going to get some of the stain the whole tree trunk. Actually, this is one of the easiest things I've ever stained. You know, I oftentimes do those trees and other things. The tree trunk was simple compared to those. Just get a brush it on, let it dry, and then I get acrylic paint, and I try to like match the paints to like the trees on my property. Now I get white, I'll get gray, I have a greenish mullish color that I mix together. I also have a brown. I'm gonna put everything together, and it's like in different spots on top of each other, do a little bit of layering. By the time I'm done, I should have, hopefully, a halfway decent looking tree trunk. Now, in some comments on a Facebook post, somebody mentioned whether or not the heat from the lights could set things on fire or cause fire. I've done stuff in the past where I put the lights I have in an enclosure and it's been no problem. The lights I use are LED lights. So they've been fine in the past, but it was a fair point, so I wanted to make sure I double checked. So what I did, it's off now, I actually had this light on for about 45 minutes. This is the 50-watt light. I had a piece of plastic right up against it, right behind it. It generated practically no heat. I also had the Gemi light running for about 45 minutes. I had it running inside the plastic bag, no problems. So unless you're using like, you do want to think about the light source that you're putting in here, how much heat it puts out. For me, it's not a problem, but you do want to take that into consideration for yourself. All right, I have pretty well stained this, so you can see what is starting to take shape. Now the one thing I still have to do to this is I still need to dry brush it. I'm going to dry brush it a couple of different colors. I have a white color that I'm going to dry brush, gray. I have a greenish color. I've got a whole bunch of different colors, a brown color. And I'm going to try to bring out the definition on this and make it look more realistic. Now staining, one of the things that can be kind of annoying when you stain with a hickory, like any stain, I'm using hickory. If you come over here, you'll notice there's a little part, and you can see there's a little hole. I'll probably like get a piece of plastic and put that over there. But let's say you have something, a little place it's hard to get to with the paintbrush and the stain. I use the Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch Satin Espresso. It's pretty much the same color as the hickory stain. Just get a little bit, spray it in there, and boom. Got the color in there and everything. It's great for touching up little mistakes or little areas like right here. Now I don't use on that much, but no, it's not bad for a quick touch up. The last step for the tree stump is basically painting it to add a little bit of a color, bring out some of the definitions. Also, I want to give it a look like it's been on the ground and been around for a little while. And for that, I'm using acrylic paints. You can get them from places like Joann Fabrics or whatever, from about 70 cents to $1.50 per jar. And what I do is I get them, and then I figure out what color. I've taken a look at the trees on my property, and when I look at the trees on my property, I figure out what color the trees are and what colors I want to highlight this. So I've got a white, I've got two different colors, actually two different grays. I've got a grayish brown here. I've got a greenish color to simulate the moss that is on a lot of the trees around here. And I got some brown that I'm also going to add on here. And when I do this, I'm not an artist, so I have no idea if there's a right way or a wrong way to do this. I try to get inside all the grooves first. There's a groove here, groove here, groove here, right there. Anywhere there's a little bit of depth, I tend to hit those with darker grays. The outer parts out here, I hit with lighter grays, and what I'll actually do is put a little bit I might hit it with the gray first, and then I might go over top of it with white, so you kind of get a combination of colors on there. Different spots, I'll just take the green and put the green every here and there. And then the last thing I do is I put the brown on, and put the brown in a couple different places, and mainly on top for the brown. And I just go through and I try to make it look better, and it's really not that hard to do. Now when you're dry brushing, what I learned was just from watching a Stilt Beast video studio a couple years ago, where all you do is put a little bit of paint on the paintbrush, and you wipe it off, and then you lightly go over top of whatever you're painting. And what you're trying to do is, you can see all these wrinkles and everything on here. you're trying to hit those wrinkles with some of the different paints. And what it winds up doing is it makes that pop out. I'll put a link to the video because it does a lot better job describing this than I can. First, I'm gonna get the darker gray. Let's take the darker gray. I'm just gonna go around, like I said, in some of the grooves. I'm not painting the whole thing. I'm just like kind of like leaving some on the tree trunk. Not a whole lot. I got the grooves down here. Put it right there. Now, and this is basically the type of thing you're gonna eye up and decide, okay, you want more there, you put more wherever. You don't wanna put something somewhere for some reason, don't put it there. This is not an exact science type of thing. Just try to have a little bit of fun while you do it. And like I said, when I get the paint, I try to scrape most of the paint off on the side. I don't want this to be saturated or loaded. Now, might just go over the top a little bit with the gray. And I hit the top with a lot of different colors, very gently. Just trying to get some of the wrinkles, pick up the colors. Now I left some of the pool noodles up around here so it kind of looks like it splintered when it fell, when the tree fell apart. Like I said, it's not an exact science for me anyway. I just do whatever feels right. Spin this around. And one of the things I do is I spend a lot of time on the front part of it, like the parts that people are actually only seeing. When I get back to here where the hole is and everything, I don't spend a whole lot of time on this side. I'll hit it with the dry brush and everything, but I'm not going to try to make that look as good as what people are actually going to see, just in the name of saving time. If you want to, there's no reason not to. Just not something that I worry about that much. A little bit here. And another thing I oftentimes do, since this is the side that people aren't going to see, oftentimes do a little bit of experimentation over on this, like all my other projects and everything. Whenever I start out with the dry brushing, I start dry brushing in places people aren't likely to see. That way, if I screw something up, it's not that big of a deal. If you do something, let's say you do something color-wise and you really don't like the way it comes out just don't like the way it looks, you can always go back. I was telling you about this earlier in the video. It's a spray paint satin espresso. Similar enough in color to this. So let's say I don't like that gray right there. Just boom. And it's covered up and you can see matches right in. That's literally all it takes. Give it a couple minutes to dry, go over it again, redo it. So it's a nice thing about projects like this is that if you do screw up or there is something that you don't like, it's easy enough to just just fix things up. Like in this case, spray paint. Now I'm noticing that there's a spot right there. Hit it with the spray paint can. It's already done. I finished dry brushing and painting the stump. Like I said, I used grays and I used whites and a little bit of green on the sides here. Like I said, we have, like our trees, a lot of them are covered in moss, and the green actually reflects the moss cover a lot. One of the things I do on the top is I put a lighter brown color. Basically what I'm trying to portray there is that this is fresher cut, this is younger than what's on the side, so it's a little bit lighter in color. It's not quite as weather worn as the outside of the tree trunk. Now I've got everything pretty much the way I want it. All I have to do is get a light. Now, take a big light here, grab this. This is really, really light, so it's easy to carry. Set up the light on the ground. Take your trunk. And you're done. It's covered up. Kind of looks like it fits in a little bit. Covers the light. Hope you enjoy the tutorial.